being able to sing, man, write and produce, you know, how did that come together, man? How did you start one before the other, or did you which one which talent, man, you kind of started first, bro?
Well, I've been singing since I was little, man. I probably my first time singing in front of people was probably about 5 or 6 years old. So
Okay.
I've always been singing, you know. I've always been influenced by, R&B and all that stuff. But I got into hip hop probably, man, around 17, 18, somewhere around there, you know. So I've
Okay.
been doing that for a little while. As far as producing, man, my cousin, uh, I don't know what she goes by, S Brown or something like that, but she actually taught me how to make beats. I would just sit and she would be on a computer, just playing the keys and making beats and stuff, and I would just sit back and watch her, and just soak up everything that she did. So if it wasn't for her, I wouldn't know how to produce music. So
Now, 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 where are you originally from?
I'm from Jacksonville, Duval County.
Okay, all right. Do you remember Shabak Entertainment?
Oh yeah, yeah,
Okay, all right, cool.
yeah, man.
So you started producing, man, first. What do you remember, man, what you was producing on, man, when you started, bro?
I started producing first started producing just using a regular Casio keyboard, recording
Okay.
to a cassette tape.
So do you remember what version of Casio, man, you was using?
I do not remember. It was one of them things you find at Radio Shack.
I heard that name in a minute. Radio Shack.
Because I had the same board, man, and the thing, when you thought you was doing something, man, when you
Uh,
first got it, until you really figured out what you was doing, and you couldn't
right,
really save your stuff, you
right.
know. So I had the same Yamaha, this older Yamaha board, man,
Uh-huh.
and it was like, really like a Casio, and
Hmm.
you couldn't save nothing on it. So I'll make a beat, and because when you turn it off, it's gonna erase the beat. You know what
Yeah,
I'm saying?
yeah.
So when you make a beat, you just leave the power on and just let the song play over and over again.
Oh yeah.
It- you
See
know what I mean?
what I had to do. I had a tape recorder, cassette tape recorder with two decks.
Right.
So I would play the part the whole song through on the keyboard, record it onto the tape, play it back while recording the second part, and I would have to record the whole thing kind of like that. You know what I'm saying? Just kind of from another cassette tape to another cassette tape. It was
Boy,
crazy.
and man, and it's crazy, man, how we evolve and when we start.
Yeah.
And then now you got your semi-weighted, piano, man. You're using Reason, we
Yeah.
talked about. The question I want to ask you, man, as an independent artist, what has been some of the obstacles that's been very, very hard as an independent artist that you found to overcome, and that other artists that because a lot of times, a lot of cats try to front like they really okay and it's cool, and they don't have no obstacle to overcome.
Right.
What are some obstacles, bro, as an independent artist that's been very, very challenging to overcome?
Um, I think the main obstacle that comes along a lot of times is sometimes you go through like a block where using the same sounds, you got to constantly be gathering new sounds, looking for new drum kits, new keys, and stuff like that. Because when you use the same sounds over and over again, it's like you can only use the same sound a certain amount of time before it becomes monotonous. So
Right.
a struggle is
Good
keeping
word.
your stuff fresh. You know what I mean?
Right.
And that just involves constantly doing research, constantly looking for stuff, looking for new materials. If you know how to make your own sounds, making your own sounds, because that keeps your inspiration fresh. You know what I'm saying?
Like I'll say kudos to that, man, because let me see, we got to come in. Who see here? Oh, hey, what's going on? Glad to have you, man. Glad to have you, bro. Glad to have you.
Okay. So,
Edify show, man. Glad to have you, bro.
God bless
Uh,
you.
and that's one of the things, man, that as a music producer, man, I don't like using the same sound twice. So I spend a large amount of my time collecting sounds.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? I got like 15 hard drives, right? And each hard drive probably have about 3 terabytes, 4 terabytes.
Yeah.
You know, drum kits, VST instruments.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Because that beat block, man, is real. You just get bored, man. You
Oh
try
yeah.
to find inspiration, man.
Real.
So outside of the sounds, being an independent artist, being a Christian independent artist, what's another obstacle, man, that you found that's been very, very challenging in getting your music out, man, and trying to find success as you define it for yourself?
Real. My main thing is the whole marketing side. I mean, I'm good. I can make a beat, I can sing, I can rap, I can do all that stuff. I can perform, I can rock out a crowd and all that. But when it comes to marketing, that's where my struggle comes in. You know, how to market to an audience to get them to want to purchase it. It's one thing having, you know, talent and everything, but that's another whole skill that, you know, has to be developed.
Now, when you're making music, do you have in mind who you're making music for? The audience that you want to make music for?
Not necessarily. I just, what God gives me, that's what comes out. You know,
Mm-hmm.
I don't necessarily have a target audience because the music that I make, I don't make music in just like one type of genre. So I might, you know, have a hip hop song here, or you know, then the next day I might have a pop song or a R&B song, or the next day I might have a country song. I've even written country music. You know what I'm saying? So I try to stay as eclectic as possible, and I take pride in not the audience not knowing what's coming next. You know,
Right.
so they don't know whether to expect some hip hop or some country or some ballad music. You know.
Okay.
So when you tracking, so how do you, what's your process, man, when you get ready to start tracking? Do you like for instance, for me, if I'm making a song, I don't really want to listen to nothing else because it's gonna mess with my creativity, right? And you know, so but what's your process when you start writing a song? Do you create your music first as a singer? You know what I mean? Then you go back and you write to your own creation, or do the words come to you for you? Because every, triple threat, and I say because you're a producer, you're a singer, and you're a songwriter, you write for other people too. What's your process? You know.
I really don't have a set. I really don't have a set process. I mean, if
Okay.
it flows, it flows. Sometimes I'm just riding in the car, and I just start singing this melody in my head. Sometimes I'm riding in the car and I just start singing this song that I never heard before, you know?
Okay.
And I just have to pull out my voice recorder on my phone and record it like that. There's a lot of songs that I write without even writing it down, you know? So sometimes it comes to me like that. Sometimes I'm just sitting there listening to it. I might be looking at TV and a commercial will come on and somebody will say some random phrase or some random jingle will come on and it'll jumpstart something in my head. Oh snap! I got an idea. I gotta go jot that down real quick, you know.
Sure.
Or sometimes I'm listening to some music and you know it's a certain type of beat that gives me some type of inspiration. It's like, oh man, that just gave me an idea for a type of track, you know. So it's whatever comes first. Sometimes I'll make a beat and I'll forget that beat is even there. Then 2-3 years down the road, you know, I'm just looking through my stuff and I'm like, oh man, I forgot I even made that beat, you know? And I started listening to it and vibing, and the next thing you know, in 15 minutes, 2 hours, 3 hours, I got a full song and I'm recording it, you know what I mean? Sometimes I start writing on the song. There was a time where I started writing on the song just off of some inspiration that I got from listening to another song. And I started writing on it, but I got stuck. And I would say about 5 years later, the thought of that song came back into my mind. And after 5 years of having a piece of this song written, I was able to sit down and write that in about 15 minutes, you know? So it's just however it comes is how it comes. How God gives it to me, that's how it gives it to me. So, you know, I don't try to control it. I don't try to box it in. It's just let it flow, you know?
I was telling another guy, man, the other day, man, is that it's crazy, man, how I create a song, like I said, I created a song like 10 years ago, and you just have it, you move on to something else, and you know, you like, man, I don't really feel that. And somebody else come through and you bump and they love it and they want it and they,
Right.
you know, and it's 10 years old and it's classic, man. So your music is your legacy, and you gotta kind of be mindful of that, man.